The YouTube thumbnail game is on, and I'm your host CGR back with another episode. Today's episode is on Photoshop. There will be much more episodes coming on this topic because Photoshop is the Photoshop, but this is the first one. So, if you wish to be the king of the jungle, it's not enough to act like a king. You must be the king. And there can be no doubt, because doubt causes chaos and one's own demise. Photoshop is the king of this jungle. And AI will come and go. Many AI tools have come, but Photoshop remains. Everything will come and go, but Photoshop has stayed since February 1990. I googled it myself, but yes, it has stayed. YouTube thumbnail game has changed a lot, but what hasn't changed is that everything in the end comes back to Photoshop, at least for now. Let's see what happens. And I'm pretty sure that until designers have their jobs, Adobe will have Photoshop and we will have Adobe subscription. So until AI is perfect and it can perfectly run the world on its own for us or for itself, I think designers will remain, and so will Photoshop. So in my journey, when did I learn Photoshop? So first was I used a mobile app called PixArt, and after that I just came directly to Photoshop. One day I tried GIMP, and from the next day I was like, which is the best software, which is the industry level software? Yes, I got it. It's Photoshop. So just learn that why waste time on the ones which are in the middle. So yeah, that was the story behind my learning Photoshop. And also, I learned Premiere Pro and After Effects, but they didn't run as well as Photoshop on my PC at that point of time, and I thought that Photoshop is much better as a freelance software and as a whole thing doing. So I started using Photoshop, learning Photoshop more and more, and decided that this is the app that I will use to give freelance service, etc. Because it will run most smoothly on my PC, and I can charge most for the amount of time I will be putting in, because I always feel that I am superior to others and I will be able to do more in less time and in a better way, which is that I can develop a much more bigger, better skill set than other people. So that's why I chose Photoshop. So now in the YouTube thumbnail game, what are the Photoshop features that I use the most? Now, of course, generative fill is probably the most sexiest one at the moment. But other than that, and generative fill can almost literally do everything that other tools are able to do. Although you do most of the time need, manual adjustments for which you should learn the tool and you should know the tool. But yeah, generative fill is very, 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 very powerful. Like, it can literally replace many tools for most of the time in the coming future. So other than that, I use high pass, masks, of course, camera raw filter, auto is really good. Also, if you need to make the images of Midjourney a little brighter because they are generally very darker, so that's useful. Curves, levels, move tool, of course, just kidding, and marquee tool, shape tools. These are my top softwares, like tools that I use in the YouTube thumbnail game. Then effects, glow effect, I like glow effects a lot, and drop shadow, of course, gradients, those are really good. In the tool, of course, text tool. Text tool is, how can someone leave that? Text tool is really important. Then for my personal choice, I also like noise a lot, like gradient filled with noise that looks so good. Like, I do know all the tools, so sometimes it's really good to know the tools so that you can manually adjust things when generative AI is not able to do the thing. I feel that people who know other tools before AI, before the pre-AI world, those people have more control. Like, this is a very debatable thing, but yeah, I do feel that we have more control. Like, if you see the people who made radios and etc., if they continued and make computers, I don't know if that makes sense, but if they do make computers, they have more understanding of how things develop, and maybe they have an edge of some kind. Yeah. So these are the tools that they use. Also, small things like uh, sometimes you need a clone stamp tool for various jobs that generative fill is not able to do. Like, most of the clone stamp tools job has been replaced by generative fill, but yeah, also content aware fill is really important, and it's also faster than generative fill, so that's good. Also, content aware fill does not have any bans or bias as what you can use it from, so you can do literally anything on Photoshop. Also, Photoshop, also, if many people do not know this, I guess, because I did not. So Photoshop has its own different subscription as well inside Adobe Suite. You can just buy Photoshop you just need. It is also very cheaper than buying the whole subscription. Of course, it will be cheaper. Also, there is always a 50% discount on the Photoshop for like first year, and you don't have to verify your student subscription at all. They didn't ask me for any ID or college email address. It was just a normal address, and they just gave the first year for free. I think they are just giving you to try it out, and then in future buy it, because you're not gonna, if Adobe is really good and it is useful, and if you use it for a year, you probably will be making enough so that you do not need that subscription, need to save 1,000 more on that subscription probably. So that's why I think they're giving it for free. Take it. It's really, really good. I don't know if there is any other way to get generative fill for free. So yeah, Photoshop. If you wish to be king of the jungle, it's not enough to act like a king. You must be the king. And there can be no doubt, because doubt causes chaos and one's own demise. Photoshop is the king, and today's episode was directed to Photoshop. Thank you. It was brought to by... It was YouTube Kind of Game, brought to you by CG Artisans. Thank you.